Happy 80th birthday, Reverend Jackson. As I look back on the years I've spent in this building and around the organization and around you, one thing I remember is, playing around hide and go seek in the building when we weren't supposed to, and Uncle Saint would tear us up for that. But what I most remember is getting involved in Jackson Action Task Force with Jesse Jr. and Ray Anderson and LaMel McMorris and so many others when Mignon still worked here. This gave us a purpose, it gave us something to do, kept us busy, taught us about voter registration, we became deputy registrars, kept us very active. And then when we still had the Push Excel game, you started giving scholarships away through Push Excel. So I was one of those Push Excel students that got a scholarship every year for college and then extended all the way through law school. I went to the University of Illinois undergrad, got a degree in speech communications, and I also got a law degree from the University of Illinois. But one of the things that struck me over the years is that I told Jesse Jr. the other day, we had a Superman. I mean, Reverend Jackson was Superman growing up. And all of us just stood a little bit taller because we were part of the organization. Our chests poked out just a little bit more because we were under the tutelage of Jesse Jackson. And as I think about it, Black middle-class America owes a great deal of debt to Reverend Jackson for the work he's done. And I'm saying really across all industries. I mean, from the automotive industry to the healthcare industry to the retail component of industry to oil and gas to franchises. I mean, Reverend knocked down those doors so that African American males and females would have an opportunity to be a McDonald's franchisee or a Burger King franchisee or a Pepsi or Popeyes or KFC franchisee. Reverend opened the doors. I remember one time him telling me that he went to meet with Mr. Ford and he could have asked for a dealership for himself, but he thought his purpose was to spread the love to many others, and that's how they started the automotive group in the Rainbow Push Coalition Trade Bureau. He went to Mr. Ford and said, you should have a program to bring on new African American dealers and make them dealers. We buy your cars, we're your money, market, and talent. We should have the opportunity to be franchisees as well. And he would take that same concept and do it with McDonald's and Burger King and Toyota and Lexus and Honda and Mercedes. And I don't think most people know that those franchises came out of the Rainbow Push Coalition and Jesse Jackson's brain. I mean, even when we think about President Barack Obama and Michelle Obama, their existence happens only because Jesse Jackson runs for president in '84 and '88, which changed the rules from winner take all in a state to proportionality. Barack didn't win California, Hillary did. He didn't win Florida, Hillary did. But because of the proportionality of votes, he was able to overtake her in the delegate count because Jesse Jackson in '84 and '88 on his platform fights when he was running for president, he changed the rules in the Democratic Party. They were no longer winner take all. Not only that, he registered millions of people to vote and enfranchised them throughout the South. It was called Run Jesse Run, a precursor to the '84 campaign. And then you have to just remember, I mean, all the exposure. I've met everybody in the world from Nelson Mandela to Muhammad Ali to Oprah Winfrey to Michael Jordan, Michael Jackson, even Barbara Streisand. I've known every president since Carter personally because of the work of Jesse Jackson. And when you think about, when you sit at that table, that Thanksgiving table, that Christmas table, we get together and we work fellowship with each other, you're just reminded of the power of information from the travel the family has done, the travel that we've done with Reverend, and how Jonathan can speak on any country in Africa, and Yusef can talk about any business deal from soup to nuts, and Jesse Jr. can talk about the Constitution like he's reciting his name. Reverend gave us this depth, he taught us to be bigger and better than who we were. Taught our minds. I mean, my mind is enriched, my life is enriched, my kids' life, my wife, Cindy, her life has been enriched because Jesse Jackson walked this earth. He's given us so much that's not even tangible to equate to a dollar amount. But I know my life is better because I came in contact with the Reverend Jesse Jackson. I remember the first time I met him, I was 4 years old. We were at Tom Lewis's Christmas party. And my mother walked over to him and said, Reverend, meet Martin Luther King. And he picked me up in his arms and hugged me and said, nice to meet you, Dr. King. And from that moment on, I knew who I wanted to be, who I wanted to be like, who I wanted to train under. And from that moment, I never wanted to be just a lawyer. I never wanted to be just a doctor. I wanted to be Jesse Jackson and a lawyer that fought for justice and people and fought for the homeless and the left out, those that are marginalized. Ever since that day at Tom Lewis's house, when I met Jesse Jackson, I didn't want to be Muhammad Ali. I didn't want to be a boxer. I wanted to be a lieutenant in Reverend Jackson's army. And I think over the 52 years I've been able to do that. But it was just so important to me to fulfill Dr. King's legacy. From that point on, I understood. I got teased about my name all the time, but from that point on, when I met Jesse Jackson, I stood just a little bit taller. I was a little bit more confident. I was just a little bit more sure of myself because, I mean, he gave me that I am somebody, and I believed it with all of my heart. And I think it separated me from my peers. I mean, it made me bigger, stronger, faster, quicker. It gave me a purpose to my life. And Reverend Jackson, I thank you for that. There's been nobody in my life that has any comparison to what you've given me in terms of knowledge and information, relationships, access to deals, access to money, access to banking relationships. As I said before, there's just nothing that you haven't done or been willing to do for me and my family and for so many others that I know. I mean, Donna Brazil's on ABC because of Jesse Jackson. Mignon's director of the White House because of Jesse Jackson. She was at the DNC because of Jesse Jackson. I've watched you broker deals for John Rogers and Jim Reynolds, and I just saw George Johnson on the plane the other day, and he said, what was so unique about you was your brilliance would just shine through. You had the country preacher accent, but your brilliance and your ability to convey information would just blast through the room. You were able to really part the waters. I mean, we talk about the Red Sea parting, but I've watched Jesse Jackson part the Red Sea. We've been in so many difficult moments and times in this 52-year journey. I literally understand what it means to part the Red Sea. I've seen him do it. I've seen him bring both sides of the table together when they're fighting, whether it was a union or a fire strike. I've watched him create opportunity out of thin air. When there's a corporation that doesn't want to be right by a certain community, he goes in and he'll say, hey, we purchase your product. We need to have a chance to work with you, have contract relationships, all the way from legal work to accounting work to marketing and advertising. We can do more than just, write copy. We can do everything if you give us a chance. And that's just been his motto. And it's worked. I mean, we have a middle class Black America because Jesse Jackson stood up and fought for it. The reason there's an NMSDC or Chicago United is because Jesse Jackson kept pushing for the rules to change to include us. I remember at a time in '84 when you had Bill Cosby on TV, Reverend Jackson at the Democratic Convention, Michael Jackson had a big album out, Prince had a big album out, Oprah had just started in Chicago, Michael Jordan had come to the Bulls. What made Chicago so powerful and so popular, and the reason why President Obama's campaign could come out of Chicago, is because Jesse Jackson lived in Chicago. Michael Jordan lived in Chicago. Oprah Winfrey lived in Chicago. Ms. Farrakhan lived in Chicago. Ali lived in Chicago. So you had all this nexus coming together, and through the lens of the television set, they saw Oprah every day out of Chicago, and they saw Michael Jordan 3 nights a week out of Chicago. Saw Jesse Jackson on TV, a Nightline, and so forth on 60 Minutes. So Chicago became a nucleus. I mean, Carol Mosey Braun came out of Chicago. Harold Washington came out of Chicago. Barack took all those legacy relationships and built on it and became President of the United States and a United States Senator. So suffice it to say, Reverend Jackson, happy birthday. I'm very proud to have been a part of your life, and I'm still a part of your life, and I wish you just fantastic days ahead. Love you, man.